Have a few words just for him.
Hello. Hello. It's very nice to be out.
Are you? Can I welcome you to the family, Ian? Have I got news for you? I'm Naga Munchetty. In the news this week, in Kyiv, President Zelensky faces one of his most intense battles of the campaign as he and an opponent both seek the tactical advantage of higher ground. In Devon, as the cost of living crisis continues, word gets out that the local farm shop is offering 50 pence off camembert. And in London, there's evidence that Philip Schofield enlisted some young friends to help him steal something from the set of This Morning. Now, on Ian's team tonight is a comedian who's also a supporter of Arsenal Football Club. So, Ian, if your team takes an early lead, don't get too excited. You could still blow it. Please welcome Hugh Dennis. On Paul's team tonight is a Conservative politician who's campaigned for children under the age of 5 to be given more state-funded hours in nurseries. In other news, she has a 4-year-old son. Please welcome Baroness Ruth Davidson. We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Hugh, take a look at this.
That's Matt Hancock announcing the rules he's going to break.
That's Boris and Rishi preparing for their next jobs after the election.
Hello, you've got another child. Blimey, have I? Don't remember that at all.
This is the news that the deadline for submitting requested information to the COVID inquiry has passed and the whole government and Boris Johnson have been arrested. Oh, no, so sorry, hang on. There's an alternative ending. Nothing's happened.
Bizarrely, the government is refusing to comply with a committee that it set up itself.
Yes, yeah. It thought it should have an inquiry into COVID and appointed Baroness Hallett, and she said, well, can I see all the evidence? And they said no.
But it's even more complicated than that, isn't it? Because she said, can I see all the evidence, please? And the government have said no, but Boris has sort of said, yes, I will hand over all my evidence. And the reason he has handed all his over is because he kind of wants Rishi to hand over all of his evidence and all his messages, presumably including loads during lockdown, which went, oh, that bastard next door's having a party again.
But also, if you have an inquiry, it tends to be up to the person chairing the inquiry what's relevant. If you say to someone who's committed a crime, is there anything relevant? They go, oh, no. Oh, no, you don't want to see any of that. You don't believe them. So if the government sets up an inquiry, it's presumably got to give over all the stuff. I think by the time this goes out, they'll have backed down. I don't think the government's going to... Are they, Baroness? They're not going to spend the run-up to the next election fighting their own inquiry.
Depending on when this airs, we'll have found out that they've gone to a judicial review.
It'll certainly be sorted out by the time this is on Dave.
But also, Boris has only... Boris, the former criminal Prime Minister, he's only handing over his WhatsApp messages from 2021, from when he changed phones. So, yes.
Is that right?
So a lot of the messages we're not going to see, and The original phone he had, he was on a boat with Rebecca Vargas.
Yeah. Because Matt Hancock has also handed over all his WhatsApp messages to the inquiry, hasn't he? Including the personal ones. Presumably there are about 90,000 saying, do you fancy a snog? 10 minutes in the corridor under the CCTV.
Ruth,
Yes.
it makes me think about WhatsApp messages between politicians. So are you in a WhatsApp group with Boris Johnson?
I'm not in a WhatsApp group with Boris Johnson, but I do co-chair his Appreciation Society with Nadine Dorries.
So have you ever WhatsApped Boris?
Yes, but in his old phone. I don't think...
It does make you think, doesn't it, with all these inquiries going on? What about Holly and Phil if they had to hand over their WhatsApp messages to the ITV inquiry?
I assumed at one point that would be referred to the UN. I mean, it's really...
Probably serious.
I love that they're calling Caroline McCall the head of ITV to the MP's inquiry. One, that MPs are asking anybody about having affairs. And two, that she's going to know who Phil has been dipping his wicket in, and she might as well get asked about... Sorry, to parse the phrase. Did you know? The idea that she would know, I think, is perhaps unfair.
But it seems you're suggesting that you do know.
I mean, the only thing that I find funny is, as a politician, anytime we get into trouble or hit the news, there's, you know, camera crews outside our door all the time. I haven't seen any pictures of Phil at all since this broke. It's almost like he's done a runner. I won't even make the long one. Won't even make the long one.
Now, I gather he's no longer on the Prince's Trust, is that right?
He was dropped as an ambassador, yes.
Yes, because he was unfaithful to his wife. The Prince's...
OK, let's bring this back on track. What has the Prime Minister had to say about this COVID inquiry going back and forth?
I feel quite sorry for Rishi, because he's in Moldova with Zelensky and the European leaders trying to do big boy politics. And once again, he's clearing up and being asked about Boris Johnson, and he's not getting to do the Prime Minister thing at all.
And you feel sorry for him?
Well, I do, because he's like this earnest and industrious little chinchilla that works really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then there's just this big looming gorilla behind him that just takes up all of the space and all of the lights, and he just, you know, he can't get on his wheel. It's a shame.
Now, there is a suggestion that Boris Johnson is just trying to cover his arse, but he's not doing that good a job at it. Someone else has to do it for him.
Do these new claims over lockdown signal an end to your political career?
No.
I think that's one of the things we don't have to see.
Yeah, it's still there at the moment.
Yeah. Couldn't it be redacted?
Look, everyone likes a bit of peach cobbler. So, let's get back to the COVID inquiry, shall we?
Yeah.
Do you feel liberated from breakfast news being...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, great.
Right, so to further endear themselves to the electorate, a number of MPs have been found to have done what?
Oh, they have tried to claim speeding fines on expenses, haven't they?
And parking tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's four of them, and a government minister.
Presumably these people went for the points and went for the fines because they didn't want to do speed awareness courses, didn't they? Because presumably they were available. And I heard last week's show, and you have been on a speed awareness course, have you not?
Indeed.
As have I, but I was going even slower than you. I was going 22 in a 20.
I was doing 24, Speedy Gonzales.
Interestingly, in the speed awareness course, literally no one recognised me at all.
They said it was humiliating.
Mainly because I was disguised as Suella Braverman.
I did feel for you, Ian, because I had to go on a speed
did you?
awareness course, and I was recognised.
How fast were you going?
I can't
Oh,
remember.
you can't say, yeah. Okay.
It's all a bit of a blur.
How's the government going to implement levelling up where it really matters?
In Westminster.
It's going to fiddle the honours system.
You're kidding.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're giving it a regional thing, aren't they?
Levelling up.
Yeah.
So they're going to give more people honours in the north.
What, are Scottish people going to be made baronesses?
Outrageous.
What is your title, your official title?
My title is Baroness
It's
Davidson.
not Alcoholics Anonymous, is it?
Is that another meeting you've been to?
Should we talk about the cost of living crisis?
Yes.
OK,
Yeah,
absolutely.
go for
What has a much-loved food brand gone and done?
Is it reducing portions or something? Or?
Portion-linked. It's Lurpak I'm talking about.
Lurpak?
Lurpak, yeah?
They've made it smaller, haven't they?
They've made their standard 250-gram block 200 grams, but you pay the same price for it.
How's that help?
Wow. This is what Danny Micklethwaite in Lurpak's marketing department tried to explain. Here's what he said. We want to make our price points more accessible for shoppers, which we believe can be achieved by reducing our pack size. Yeah, completely convinced with that one. Shall we see if it dents Lurpak's position at the top of the butter and spread chart?
Surely it's spreadsheets, isn't it?
Way!
Thank you very much.
Lurpak is at number 1, according to the Grocer magazine's Butter and Spreads chart. We've got another game idea.
OK,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
We're going to play a question of stalk.
This question of stock, how brilliant.
Just play along.
I can't believe it's not better.
I'm going to test your knowledge of the most popular saturated fats. So, Butterfingers on buzzers.
OK.
Oh, hello.
Flora. What is unusual about Flora's rankings in the butter and spreads chart?
It's not in the butter and spreads chart.
No.
OK, it was just a try.
It appears twice.
Yes.
Yes.
It has 2 entries in the top 10.
Does it?
Yeah. Flora and Flora Proactive.
Yeah.
The surprise entry at number 9.
Marmite. That's a surprise.
No.
Is it Charlton Athletic?
OK, what's the name of the game?
Stork!
Question of
Butter.
stalk.
yeah.
Stalk.
Question of stalk.
Now, I'm afraid I know you've loved it, but that is the end of that. They think it's all clover. It is now. This is the inquiry into the COVID-19 pandemic. Rishi Sunak's record as Chancellor during COVID is now under scrutiny. According to an ally of Boris Johnson, the WhatsApps the government really doesn't want disclosed are Sunak's. Hence his new initiative, Delete Out to Help Out. After the COVID inquiry demanded access to ministers' WhatsApp messages, a government spokesman insisted most of the content of the phones was entirely ordinary, just misogynistic banter, workplace bullying and tractor porn, of course. Paul and Ruth, take a look at this.
Yes. Oh, yes. This is Luton Town, isn't it? Luton Town Football Club have won promotion to the Premier League. They were a non-league club a few years back, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then they gradually came up the divisions. So, yes, that's it.
That is, yeah. So Luton Town's promotion does top a remarkable rise for the club over the last 10 years. But what sets Luton Town apart from the other Premier League teams?
They're near Luton. And their ground, Kenilworth Road, is quite a small ground. And it's right in the middle of sort of council houses, or certainly houses anyway. So you sort of walk almost through people's gardens, don't you, to get into the ground. So it's quite quaint.
So the team has one of the oldest stadiums in football. As a consequence, the away fans who visit for matches are going to have to enter the stadium through someone's house. So this is the entrance. Through someone's house at the away end. It's just your typical 2 up, 10,000 capacity stadium down.
There's a player for Luton Town that I love because he's got the best name. He's called Marvellous Nakamba. He's on loan from Aston Villa. And I love the idea that footballers should be like their name. So Marvellous Nakamba actually has had a marvellous season for them. As somebody from Scotland, I remember when Raphael Scheidt played for Celtic.
Here's Sky News' Ashna Harinag reporting on some of the issues for residents.
We've spoken to lots of people who live on this road. Some have lived here for over 20 years. They say when match days are on, sometimes there are crisp packets in their front gardens.
So, Luton Town Chief Executive Gary Sweet, what is he most excited about now that his team's in the Premier League?
The money, obviously. They get like 100 million or something, don't they? And you get promotion.
He told The Sun that he couldn't wait for Erling Haaland and other Premier League superstars to arrive through a different shit entrance we've got. So this is the actual entrance that Sweet will be welcoming the £1 million a week.
There's also a thing painted on that wall on the left, where it's a brick wall, and they've covered it in a bit of cardboard or something on which they've painted a brick wall. It wasn't that long ago they were in the First Division. Because Eric Morecambe was their kind of... He was their fan-in-chief, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a statue of him in?
No, not there, I don't think. There is one of him in Morecambe, but I don't know why.
He chose to support the team after moving to Harpenden.
Yes.
And he's actually commentated on one of the games.
Oh, yes, have you got it?
Yeah,
It's
we
very
got it.
good.
0-0 at the moment for Luton. And Luton have got a free kick coming up now, which Bobby Thompson is just going to take. Yes, Anderson, it's there! It's there! Hey! How about that? How about that? Anderson from a Bobby Thompson free kick. Hey, knockout! That's fabulous, that. I never realised that commentators got excited.
Subject of unusual stadiums. What
Yes.
makes the ground of the Slovakian team, TJ Tatran Čierny Balog, unique?
It's impossible to pronounce.
That and this.
No, I've heard of the team coach, but that's something different altogether, isn't it? Excellent.
It's all right. Also, if that line was run by a Vanti, there wouldn't ever be any trains. You wouldn't have to worry about it.
We're going to stick with football. Why has a statue of former River Plate manager Marcelo Gallardo been getting a lot of coverage?
Oh, it's got to be a bad likeness, isn't it? He's got a big head. It makes him look like a pumpkin.
It's not his head.
He's got a knee that makes him look like a pumpkin.
I'm guessing it's his penis, is it?
The original golden balls.
It's Ian.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Finally, what's been perplexing ex-footballer Gary Neville?
Chess.
Evidently, he is a deep thinker, and he's come up with an excellent invention.
You can never really retire if you love work and you are relentless. But what you can have is mini retirements during the year, and that's what I've tried to do. I don't do it very well. So, for instance, this weekend, I'm going to Spain Friday till Monday morning. I thought that's the mini retirement. So it's a weekend. It's a weekend. It's a mini retirement. It's where I basically can say for 3 days I'm there and I'm basically taking it. You know, I don't think about work. Now I will, but and sometimes some of my best ideas come when I'm on these types of trips. But then in 6 weeks, I'll have another mini retirement for 5 days or 4 days. Rather than thinking I'm going to stop for 6 months and sort of have a sabbatical, that's not probably going to happen with people like you or I, because we just basically don't work that way. So to have lots of mini retirements during the year that I've tried to do in the last few years, I'm not sure I'm doing it very successfully.
They're called holidays.
I remember he went on a mini retirement to Qatar.
This is the news that Luton Town Football Club has been promoted to the Premier League less than 10 years after being a non-league side. It's the most unexpected promotion since that bizarre one that Liz Truss got. Luton Town's already working out what needs to be changed for the forthcoming Premier League seasons. The chairman admitted the floodlights will have to be upgraded, as he can't rely on the neighbours leaving the bathroom lights on anymore. After the club finally made it back to the Premier League, the modest signage on the stadium entrance was changed to read, We are Luton Town. We are Premier League. And in smaller writing underneath, for deliveries, place behind bin. On to round 2. Name that Charlie. All you have to do is identify the Charlie and explain why they're in the news. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
That is King Charles, isn't it?
Yep.
He is wearing a, looks like a sort of bathing hat.
He's turned down the temperature of the Buckingham Palace swimming pool.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah. It's nice to think he's got a swimming pool at Buckingham Palace. I'm assuming there's a lifeguard, and I'm assuming he's still riding a horse and wearing a busby.
This is the news that the environmentalist King Charles has turned down the thermostat on the Buckingham Palace swimming pool. He drove all the way from Clarence House in his 4x4 to do it. So why has he done it?
Well, to spend less on fuel, you know, to heat it to a lesser degree.
Last year, the taxpayer-funded bill for utilities relating to royal residents was £3.2 million. And his private residences, of course, are a different matter. Those bills are paid for with cash from Saudi billionaires.
Do you think there's a big sign on the wall that says, don't swim when the red flag is flying, because it means we're being invaded by Russia? I'm just having a go, lady.
No, there's a sign for other members of the family saying no heavy petting. Just having a go.
Yeah.
How else is Charles trying to reduce his emissions?
He's changed his diet.
Yeah.
Other environmental measures he's introduced include fitting royal residences with solar panels, using bathwater to water the flower beds, and if the lights are on but there's nobody there, that'll be Prince Edward. Now, in Sweden, what unexpectedly happened during their version of Strictly Come Dancing? In the spirit of protest, an eco-protester took to the stage during the final of Sweden's Let's Dance. He waved his arms around, throwing a shower of yellow paint into the air, holding a banner above his head. He achieved a score of 8 out of 10 for artistic interpretation. I'll show you how the protest came to an abrupt end. So, how do you deal with a protester who has superglued themselves to a motorway?
You leave them there.
If you are part of the German police force, you just cut out the chunk of tarmac that they're attached to.
They're making potholes.
This is activist Raoul Semler, who this week was jailed for protesting, and this is him post-removal.
Is he just that they love orange, don't they? What's going on?
That's the thing you noticed, yeah? What's the bad news for Sir Keir Starmer regarding Just Stop Oil?
One of the donors to Just Stop Oil, I think, is a Labour donor as well.
According to the Daily Mail...
Oh, right, let's just check it a second, then.
One of the financial backers of Just Stop Oil, Dale Vince, millionaire owner of green energy company Ecotricity, donated £770,000 to the Labour Party during the COVID pandemic, whilst also claiming more than £300,000 through the COVID furlough scheme.
What was the Mail's point? That this money should have gone to the Conservative Party? And that this was illegal under current legislation? No, I'm just checking. I need to know.
You try.
I'm just having a go.
I think the point more is if he had the money to make a donation of £770,000, why on earth was he claiming £300,000 on the COVID furlough?
Anybody who claimed all that money and then made a profit afterwards, I mean, there are quite a lot of other characters we could bring up, couldn't we?
You are mischievous.
No, I'm just trying to keep the lawyers awake.
So the leader of the Labour Party, perhaps under a cloud. Hugh, you're a member of the Cloud Appreciation Society.
I am. I love a cloud.
Just for you, what is this?
It's a cloud. That is a... I don't know what kind of cloud it is.
That was a lenticular cloud.
Lenticular? Now, they happen. I can tell you how they happen. When the air comes it kind of goes up over a range of hills. Sometimes at the top, it condenses and forms a cloud. So the cloud, which is a lenticular cloud, if the wind is blowing that way, this cloud doesn't go that way. It just stays at the top of a hill because the new air passing through forms a cloud as the air beyond the cloud leaves the cloud. Why the fuck did I start?
This is the news that King Charles has turned down the temperature of his swimming pool to help the environment. The swimming pool is fairly basic, although it does have a wave machine. In other news, protesters disrupted a performance on Sweden's version of Strictly Come Dancing, but were taken out by a camera. I must say, if there's one thing I've always learnt over the years, it's to always stay on the good side of the technical crew. It stood me in good... Oi, 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 oi! Really?
I think that's the first camera move this show's ever done.
Fingers on buzzers, teams. It's time to choose your Charlie.
Choose your Charlie. He's the actor that's in Casualty. He's been in Casualty all this time, and he's retiring because he's now been in it ever since it began. And, you know, you don't want people in long-running shows to be there forever.
Does he play a nurse, or has he just been in Casualty because the waiting time is 30?
This is the news, yes. Charlie Fairhead.
Yes.
A character in the long-running BBC drama Casualty, leaving after 37 years and almost 900 episodes.
At one point, did he not top the list of BBC stars in terms of payment?
Yeah, he became headline news when the BBC first published the salaries of their top talent in the annual report, and Derek Thompson was revealed to be the highest paid actor. He was earning between £350,000 and £399,000. Here is Derek with his co-star, and this is their reaction after being told how much they would get paid if they were actually real nurses. Over the 37 years being in Casualty, he has been shot in the chest. He's suffered a near-fatal heart attack during a gang siege. Anyone know what happened to him on his wedding day?
He got divorced.
He was run over by an ambulance. This is the remarkable news that, in a departure from tradition, a television star has left a long-running popular show without doing anything wrong. Derek Thompson is leaving the role of Charlie Fairhead that he's had for 37 years and is now going to try his hand at acting. 37 years of Charlie, not even Michael Gove has done that much. Over 37 years and...
Hang on, was that a reference to Michael Gove doing cocaine? It went by very quickly. The audience didn't really notice it, but I didn't want to draw attention to it because I thought probably deserved more than it got. You sort of slipped it by very quickly. You weren't sure. You didn't want to be saying that, did you, really? Anyway, I pointed out, so you're OK now. Carry on.
Levelling up those huge piles.
If you make a big one, it looks like a very particular kind of cloud.
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Oh.
I've seen that picture, and it's someone dressed as the young Mozart. Is that right?
It's Bonnie Prince Charlie, isn't it?
Oh, that was just in my dream, then.
This is the news that Scottish people don't like Londoners. Ruth, is it true?
Apparently we like the Welsh, which surprised me.
Yeah.
Nothing like a United Kingdom.
So, according to a poll by former Prime Minister Gordon Brown's think tank, just 17% of Scots feel a common bond with Londoners. Is there anyone that Scottish people feel an affinity to?
People from Northumberland and Newcastle and basically the bits of England that used to be Scotland and they're ours and we're going to take them back. Places that invented Greggs. Those places.
Yeah. Which recent event could have cemented Scottish people's dislike for Southerners?
When they moan about a train going and they've got another one coming in 2 minutes' time and the rest of us have to work it out and it's an hour till the next train. That?
That was from the heart, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry, did I say the inside bit out loud again? I have to stop that.
This weekend, rock duo Royal Blood was performing in Dundee. After not getting the crowd response they felt they deserved, they didn't hold back. Take a look.
Well, I guess I should introduce ourselves, seeing as no one actually knows who we are. We're called Royal Blood, and this is rock music. Who likes rock music? 9 people, brilliant. This is Ben Thatcher, he plays drums. Everybody say hi to Ben, please. We're having to clap ourselves because that was so pathetic. Well done, Ben. Can you clap for us? Can you clap? You're busy. Can you clap? He's busy. Yes, even he's clapping. What does that say about you?
They could consider changing their name to What a Tosser. Honestly.
It's just a bit posh boys being entitled wankers.
That's a better name, entitled wankers.
This is the news that a recent poll shows that most Scots feel no common ground with Londoners. In fact, we've got good examples of that divide on this show. Ruth being the sort of Scottish person that might not like Londoners, and Hugh, the sort of Londoner they might not like.
But there's a lot of Londoners who don't like Londoners.
No, that's true. And there's a lot of Londoners that love clouds.
Come to Scotland, see your clouds. Just go back again, though, when you're done.
You can see clouds generally from anywhere just by looking up.
I disprove your point. Oh, no, there's one.
Time now for the odd one out round. Oh, yeah. Just one between you this week, and your 4 are Rose Ritchie from Warwickshire, Indian official Rajesh Vishwas, the British Army, and Gollum.
That's an Indian official who dropped his phone in a reservoir and then he drained the entire reservoir in order to find his own phone.
He did.
Millions of tons of water. And he put it all in a canal and he found his phone and it didn't work. So it was waterlogged.
Why didn't we just empty the North Sea during the Rebecca Vardy trial?
Apparently he was fined, so that makes it OK.
Right, did he put it on expenses?
The egg woman found eggs. They just popped up in her garden, under the ground in her garden. She doesn't know where they came from. It's a mystery.
What, chickens' bottoms?
Yeah, possibly.
OK, so maybe the people all the other people have lost something, but she found something because she found eggs in her garden.
Well, Paul is absolutely correct. They've all lost items apart from Rose Ritchie from Studley. Over the past 12 months, Rose has found dozens of eggs around her garden. She has no idea how they got there.
It's not come from a chicken because they've got the Lion brand on them, so it's come from a supermarket.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's come from a lion.
Unless the chicken's got a printer in its arse. I mean, AI chicken could be, couldn't it?
If you think eggs come out of the arse, we need to have a chat.
One person on Facebook seemed keen to share their thoughts on the story and said it could be a type of witchcraft, whereby eggs are left at people's homes to steal their happiness. What has the British Army lost in the last 2 years?
A lot of funding, eh, Ruth?
Well, lots of personnel. It's now the smallest since the 1660s.
We can't afford actual weapons anymore. The British Army is now running around shouting bang. It's a cutback. The Russians are terrified.
In 2021 and 2022, the Ministry of Defence has lost or had stolen an assault rifle, 2 Glock pistols, 2,000 rounds of ammunition and a pair of general-purpose machine guns. One of them, a rifle with state-of-the-art telescopic all-weather sights, is on loan to a Miss Rose Ritchie from Warwickshire just until we solve the egg mystery. So they've all lost items apart from a pensioner in Warwickshire who keeps finding shop-bought eggs in her garden. The utterly baffled pensioner is Rose Ritchie, who, according to Wales Online, recently celebrated her diamond wedding anniversary with her husband Joe, a retired practical joker and chicken farmer. Rajesh Vishwas ordered the draining of a reservoir to retrieve his lost phone as it contained sensitive data. In a similar accident, Boris Johnson dropped his mobile phone in a reservoir and immediately ordered more water to be poured in. Experts reckon the most likely person to steal guns from the British Army is a disaffected former soldier who's now neurotic about his own security. Harry, give it back. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Magic Scene, the magazine for magicians and mentalists. It has a controversial editorial policy. Anything written by a woman just gets cut in half. And we start with pizza company allows customers to pay what?
Is it in Woking when they're actually in Belgravia?
Pizza company allows customers to pay with sexual favours. Is that a meat feast, or are you just pleased to see me?
Pizza company allows customers to pay after they've died. One pizza that customers can order is the 4-cheese triple-stuffed crust mega meatalicious pepperoni passion with extra garlic dip. So I imagine they'll be paying for that one quite soon. Next, woman walking home, surprised to see what lying on the pavement?
Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Is it the International Space Station?
Fox, badger. Badger fox.
Woman walking home, surprised to see panther lying on the pavement.
Blimey.
This is the story that a woman thought she saw a panther, but it turned out just to be a soft toy. Here it is. It's the most upsetting fake feline since James Corden appeared in Cats.
Why is that a magazine for magicians?
No, some of them are from newspapers.
Yeah. Oh, are they? I've never watched this programme.
Next, the best way to approach a group before performing magic is to make eye contact and say in a loud, clear voice...
The doors are locked.
The best way to approach a group before performing magic is to make eye contact and say in a loud, clear voice, good evening.
I think it's worth paying for, this magazine, isn't it?
The inside knowledge.
Oh, good stuff in it.
I thought they were meant to keep all this sort of stuff secret.
Experts say humans have never what?
Is it evolve?
Experts say humans have never actually explained what clouds are very well.
Don't.
Experts say humans have never been less hairy. According to The Times, the idea of hair removal was brought to Britain by the Romans following the Second Pubic War.
It was called Wax Romana.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That could be described as grudging.
Yeah, but half the people didn't know why they were clapping, but they just joined in. They wanted to show they understood Latin. It was Latin. Was it Latin?
It was Latin.
Oh, yeah, great. Great on a topical news quiz, isn't it?
Next, at Magic Scene, we always think who doesn't love it when what?
When a woman sawn in half takes 2 taxis home.
At Magic Scene, we always think who doesn't love it when a new magic wallet hits the market. According to Magic Scene's review of one wallet trick, although the credit card doesn't actually come out of the wallet, it does look like it does.
I've been doing that for years.
Next, Britons have an average of 24 what a year?
Prime Ministers.
Mini retirements.
Britons have an average of 24 biscuit arguments a year.
Oh, God, the number of times I've argued with a biscuit.
According to a McVitie's survey, 33% of Brits want to see ginger nuts kept separate.
From what?
Just like at the coronation. Next, When performing the nail up the nose routine, always what?
Have a magnet handy.
Check your life insurance before you bang it right into your front cortex.
Yes. Good advice.
Yeah.
It's better than saying good evening.
When performing the nail up nose routine, always choose an appropriate song. This is an article from Magic Scene. It's a magazine for magicians, and if they can't deliver it through your letterbox, they'll leave a card. Any card.
What is an appropriate song for putting a shoving a nail up? You know, I'm going to shove that nail right up, I know. What is that?
And finally, I what while chasing a 3-kilogram cheese down a hill, but it was worth it.
I became lactose intolerant.
I broke 15 bones in my body.
I dropped the grater.
But I didn't shoot the deputy.
I'm going to give you a point, Ruth. That was close. I lost consciousness while chasing a 3-kilogram cheese down a hill, but it was worth it.
I'm not sure you had much consciousness to start with. That's how you spend your holidays. Sorry, mini
retirements.
Yeah.
So the final scores are Ian and Hugh, 5.
5.
Paul and Ruth have 9.
No.
Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Hugh have this.
It's a rock band for the elderly called Spinal Nap.
And they're playing Stairlift to Heaven.
Paul and Ruth get this.
Ah, you've got a sore head as well. I know I can't do puns. I mean, anybody else had done that, they'd got a round of applause and an OBE. But me, it's the bloke on the right saying, oh, this is too sordid. No, that's even worse. Even worse.
We know what this is. This is behind the scenes at This Morning.
Here's a bonus one for you.
Oh.
Scandalous behind-the-scenes photograph reveals how team captain celebrates hard-earned draw.
You certainly crossed the line in that one, Ian.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop, Hugh Dennis, Paul Merton and Ruth Davidson. And I leave you with the news that during a meeting of world leaders, Emmanuel Macron explains to Joe Biden what everyone is saying about him. In Beijing, some new military recruits start to think that they should have had fixed bayonets at the end of the march.
They don't like it up them.
And as the Statue of Liberty is taken apart for cleaning, one intern is given the worst job.
There's a printer up there.
Good night.
Do you think Carrie was on the same WhatsApp group?
As the rest of the mothers of his children.
I'm sure you realise this, but they are still recording.
Yeah.